Cheers, listeners.
Book babes and book bros.
Welcome to Book Babble. I'm Rachel,
And I'm Tanya, and we're the Witlet Women, your hosts for the day.
and today we have Dani Ryan, the authors of the Morelli Sisters series, as well as some other books, and they are in our rapid fire AMA session. So, would you guys like to give yourselves an introduction?
Yeah, so actually, well, you go. So I'm Dani.
And I'm Ryan.
And we write romantic comedies. The Morelli Sisters is what we're most well known for. And it's a 5 book series, or it will be. The first 3 already came out. The fourth one comes out May 6th. And then the last one comes out July 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about sisters,
Yes.
much like us and you guys.
Yeah, and it has billionaire era vibes. We entered that era for sure with the sisters. Takes place in New York City. And we just loved it so much because it tapped into something that we knew so well with that whole sister connection, and we loved. So
Yeah, I mean
Yes.
it's one of our favorite things to read, especially with that sibling bond in there. So, we're always excited to get the new installments and find out what you all have up next. Um, but anyway, I will go ahead and put 5 minutes on the clock and we'll get our AMA session started. Are you ready to babble?
yes.
Awesome.
All right. So you already mentioned the sister kind of bond that's in the books, and it's really incredible the way that you've written it. So what kind of helped inspire you guys to write together and then to write that into your books?
I would say really it's just that connection. In a way, what you see with the sisters is what we know. I mean, that's just our connection.
Mhm.
So that kind of inspired it, and just this idea of leaning into, that fun side to the sister bond and that relationship. It's something that we've seen and we know with friends and family and other sisters, and I don't know if it's often portrayed enough that we can be sophisticated and we can be intellectual, but at the same time, we have that strong connection where we can be
Talk about
fun,
anything.
talk about anything.
I think it's from like the texts, honestly, and the group chat they have. And that's pretty common. You text them, I feel like, for everything. And
Yeah.
at least that's what we do. And then, the sleepovers. And that is very much something we do. We have those sleepovers. You break out all the snacks. You have all the good vibes. You watch the rom-coms.
Yeah.
So that was really what inspired it. And it definitely, I would say every book has a little bit of a piece of what we do, what we know.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, I love that you all draw like real life inspiration or inspiration from real life. That's amazing. Um, like speaking of inspiration and your personal lives, is there what inspired you most to write a specific character that like which one do you relate most to and what inspired that?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so I would say I probably relate most to Maria, and this is Ryan. And my answer is probably Maria because she is very grounded, and she has that mature, the level of maturity. And I think sometimes it can come off like
More reserved in a way.
reserved, or like, I don't want to say boring, but in a way a little boring. But that probably I resonate probably most with her. But then there's this other side that, not everyone gets to see. And that's, that close group of friends and your best friends and those that you do open up to. And that's probably why I would say Maria. And that's really, I think, the inspiration. I want to say Dani probably birthed the idea of Maria's character, but I really think she probably drew a lot from me.
Yeah.
And doing
And
that.
I did. I mean, I feel like it's pretty natural. I feel like every sister has a very distinct personality. And for
Yeah.
Maria, it was really, I looked to Ryan for that for a second. I thought, you got the older sister vibes, and it is something that is normal. I feel like you're an older sister, you're more independent, you have that more reserved side to you.
Yeah.
Not so much like the carefree younger sister. So for me, I did when I did take the lead on Maria's character personality wise, and when I created her, I did have Ryan in mind.
Yeah. And I think that's true. And then like there's a secret little part of me that like wants to have that like Allie vibe, but I don't know if I do, but I love her so much. I mean, there's pieces of her, but she's probably like a sister I would like aim to be. She's just too great and too fun, in my opinion. But I don't know. What about you?
For me, I would say I'm probably most like Perla. I do have parts of Bianca in me. I have the fun, the flirty side for sure. I'm a little bit of like a goofball, I feel like. But I think for the most part, Perla, there was definitely like a time where, like worth is always like a topic of conversation. I think she had to go through this journey to discover herself. And I definitely relate to that in a way. I had like a little bit of like a self-discovery journey in my life. And it's pretty like powerful and impactful in that way. But yeah, I think Perla, she's a little bit quiet, but also when you get to know her, she's pretty like fun and spunky. So I think Perla.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So that's the loud noise that that signals the end of our 5 minutes. So this will go on Instagram, and the full episode will be available on YouTube and Spotify. So everyone listening and watching can check it out there, and we're going to continue chatting.
Yeah, I just love the complexity and the depth of those characters, and I think reading the books, I could see a lot of Tanya and Perla, and I relate a lot to Maria. And we have another sister who doesn't join our podcast, but she also is a reader, and she reminds me so much of Bianca. And so, like reading these things and seeing as they develop and they grow through their relationships with each other and other people, there's just a lot of depth for a rom-com. Like it's really, really cool to read that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I
Yeah.
love that you guys see, yourself in that.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
just so fun. So that makes it even more special.
That was so important to us when we did it too. So I love hearing that, because when we sat down to write them, we really did think, we want to make sure there's that depth, like you said. And yes, it's a rom-com, so it's light and it's funny. But I also think, people go through things, and it was important for us to be able to really delve deep into that and discover each character. And each one of them has a different development. And yeah, so I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah, we always joke. We say we have like a million personalities, and we have enough personalities to go around sometimes. And I think it's true though, and I think that's really true of just women, well, people in general, yes, but women. And that's why it's so important for us when we write the FMCs, that they do have personality, and that you can't find yourself in all of them. You find yourself in at least a piece of them, because I think we're all very complex, and there's always something to connect with.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree
So
with that.
speaking of
Sorry.
complexities, sorry, no, I'm super, like I said, I'm really fangirling. So complexity of stories, the plots twist and turn a lot too. So for instance, there's a big plot twist that I won't divulge here, and There Are No Words. So there's this huge switch where you're like, oh my, what happened? Where did this come from? And I loved that. So, and there like seems to be like little Easter eggs too, kind of peppered throughout the books. Do you guys have any other huge twists that we should be expecting?
At this point, I'd say no.
There's definitely an Easter egg in Maria's book. I will say that. I think it's a pretty big one. And then there's little ones throughout it.
Not necessarily for the series,
but
more
just like big picture. Yeah.
Yes, so that's so exciting because like reading, so I first picked up Don't Tell Me Twice as an arc. And so reading that and then kind of reading through the stories, I just saw how that built and built. And so that is exciting, especially like knowing that book 5 is coming and there's like this bigger picture kind of, it's just really cool. So it's exciting. Tanya, did you have other questions? Sorry.
No, I didn't have questions. I was just gonna comment on how like the bond feels so genuine and natural in the books. Like you can really feel the connections between all of your characters, and I think you all do a wonderful job with that.
Oh, thank you.
Um, And so, my only other really big question I've been dying to ask is your writing style is so cohesive. So, I know with Tanya and I, our writing styles are very different. How do you meld those together and create such a, like, because you're reading it and I can't tell where Dani starts and Ryan starts, right? Like, you guys, your
Well, that's
voices are
really
very.
great to hear. That means we're doing our job.
Yeah.
No, but it's funny, we're often asked that. And our answer is probably pretty lame because even for us, when we read it in editing, we feel the same way.
We really can't tell who wrote what,
We'll
honestly.
joke and I'll say, like, oh, I really love this scene. And she's like, why, thank you. And I'm like, oh, are you sure I didn't do that though? or on the flip side, Dani will crack up laughing at something that she wrote. And I'm like, you totally wrote this. And she's like, oh, I don't remember that. So we have those moments, but it's pretty it's pretty bizarre. Honestly, we can sit down in two totally different places and two totally different times and spaces and pick up where the other person left off, and it's really natural.
Yeah, I think it comes from talking a lot about it though. We talk about everything. Anything before we touch it, we'll talk about it. And if we don't, what is strange is even if we don't talk about it, I'll write something and I'll add it in, and it's like she just runs with it. If I don't get to finish it, she'll just run with it.
Yeah, and vice versa.
And vice versa. So I think that's pretty interesting too. It just works, honestly.
I don't know what it is, but when we did do this, we started separately, and it didn't feel right. We realized very quickly that she wrote something and shared it with me. I started editing, making tweaks, and it felt better. I wrote something on the flip side. I sent it to Dani, and she did the same thing. And we were like, what are we doing? We're almost spinning our wheels because we felt that it was better when we came together. And then the writing style and tone is really similar. And I think that's just because of the way we are and how we talk. I don't know what else it is. I don't know. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer, but I'm not really sure. It just kind of it just works. It's like lightning in a bottle sometimes when we sit down to do it. I mean, there are times that we're like, and Dani's our big deleter in the relationship. She has no problem like highlighting chunks and just taking it out. And I'm like, hey, where'd that go?
Yeah, I'll be like, there's no reworking this. Let's just trash it. But yeah, there's just those times. So
yeah.
So,
well, I think it speaks to your bond. Yeah.
How does it feel working with your sister? Like, how is that does that relationship ever get tested?
I think we do, for the most part, we always get along.
Yeah.
There are times when we will definitely disagree about something. And we try to be like, okay, level-headed about it. And we're like, all right, walk away from it, take a second. But there are times that we will get into a disagreement, just, as sisters will, I feel like.
Right?
Yeah. And we get a little hot-headed. And I feel like
Dani's really passionate. Dani's a very passionate person.
I am. I'm very passionate. And if I'm a little opinionated sometimes when it comes to like the plot, and if I like really feel strongly about something, and she gets the same way, I think, but
yeah, but I think there's a good balance between us because where she's like that, I can be more, I want to say like chill. I'm more calm about things, and I'm like, okay, I'll know when to give. And I think on the flip side, she does the same with me. If I feel really strongly about something, I'm like, there's a reason you feel strongly about it, so let's just do it. So I say yes, it definitely gets tested. Not really often, but it happens. I mean, you're working so closely with another person, but for the most part, it's pretty easy.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth sailing.
That's actually very useful information because I'm trying to get Rachel to write a book with me. So.
You totally should, and I love that because you each seem to channel, I think, like similar to us. If you
like vibes. So.
Well, I could probably talk to you guys all night, but we are running out of time. So I did want to plug your books because I love them all, and they are super adorable. So you guys should check those out if you haven't yet. And I have a child in the background.
Well, are there any other topics that you all wanted to cover really quickly before we end our call?
No, I mean, I'm good. I loved doing this with you guys. It was great, sisters and the sisters thing. That was super fun.
Yeah.
And I thank you guys honestly for having us on.
Yeah, we
Well,
really appreciate it. And it was really great to get to connect with both of you. We love
Yeah.
that.
yes, same here. Thank you both for joining us, and I'm sure that we'll probably reach out and ask you to join us again in the future. Usually we do it like right around when books are being published, so maybe we'll get to talk to you again soon.
Oh my gosh, we would love that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was great talking to you guys. You have a great night or evening wherever. Yeah, I know you're different time zones. So yeah, have a good day.
Have a good one,
Yeah.
y'all.
Good afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.